brought it up, so I think it is worth saying. CM Punk, very openly on TV, would wear shirts to support women's rights and various things.
Yeah, abortion.
He is the only one out of all of them. I don't want to make this a political thing, but
It
he
is
is
political.
certainly a different thinker than the Young Bucks camp and the Jericho family.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
playing
was a
his liberal
different presence in the locker room. And
making
there are
liberals
people
normal.
who think of AEW as just a place for
No
you
such
and
thing
your
as liberal
like-minded friends to
conservative.
play your games.
There's normal and not.
But sometimes people don't want to play your
Abortion
games.
is not normal.
It doesn't mean
Come on, get past this.
they're gonna
Come on, Brian, you're pissing me off.
They're just gonna make their game better. But
I'd speed it up, but
we've seen
I'll have more time to
the
get
Young
pissed
Bucks. We've
here.
seen who the
Hopefully it's
insecure
entertaining to
people
someone.
are, who constantly have to get their
Pissing
side of
me
the story
off.
out there. I've personally witnessed the way they've lied about you publicly and things you've said or done. So I mean, CM Punk.
Right, and they always do it in the way that, well, obviously so and so wants to be involved with us, but they're so whatever the fuck. Or obviously so and so is jealous of all of our success, or what? They're so
What a
warped,
good
they have to
cop-out.
frame themselves in their own minds somehow as this pinnacle of achievement for people to be able to associate with
Add into a
plus of all
playlist.
of our success, or what? They're so warped they have to frame themselves in their own minds somehow as this pinnacle of achievement for people to be able to associate with and deal with them and interact with them. But again, from the start, we saw what it was going to be like. You talked about like-minded, whether it's politics or wrestling or anything.
That's right. That's why I said it wasn't just about politics, but it just so happens with these guys. But you have to be like-minded.
Business-wise, Punk comes in. You didn't see him interact with Pockets. That was obviously because why? Why would you spend all that money on a real star and then fucking, do that? You didn't see him interacting with the trampoline cowboy crowd. You saw him working with the young guys that he thought he could either elevate or teach something to or make something, some advancement in their career. And the Hobbses and the Darby Allens and the MJFs and the blah, blah, blah. And he didn't fuck with the people who weren't serious and were hopeless in their spots. And that's all the friends of the EVPs. And while Punk came in and drew $1 million gates and record pay-per-view buy rates.
No, it was Adam Cole and Adam Page, and everyone knows it.
And ratings, etc. by whatever metric that you want to use. Meanwhile, when and also tried to advance people and was praised for it by those people. What do you hear from the EVPs that are supposed to have a vested interest in this business? Well, they're the California Raisins. They wouldn't put FTR over for the belts when it meant something for them to have all four of those belts, because the three they have now are absolutely meaningless in the United States of America. The three belts they have would have meant something if they had the AEW belts, because that's the company that they're on and the show they're on. And they had the chance to do something right for business there when FTR was so hot and the people were tearing the house down for him. But instead, they bring back Twinkle Toes from his hiatus, which wasn't nearly long enough, and they scratch all those plans so that they can have the six-man belts and they can play with their friends. And they work it in such a way that FTR isn't just like obviously jobbed out and beaten. They just disappear. And they're just marginalized, and they're just allowed to float around. And where do you see them? Most of the time you don't. And we'll put the belts on some mid-card team, because that's not like everybody knows they're not as good as we are. We just won't put the one team that the fans were starting to think is better than us over. That's the kind of example of the professionalism of those guys. Then you've got old Twinkle Toes. I don't really think he knows enough. I don't think he's smart enough to do what Jericho does and manipulate backstage and bury people that are a threat to him and or put them over and kill them with kindness and ask for their shit to be changed so they won't be a threat to him. Because Twinkletoes doesn't know how to do that. He's an idiot. What he does is he just sabotages the company with the women's division, which is a complete joke and has been from day one, because he cannot put his personal feelings aside and recognize that not everybody is a complete fucking weirdo mentally like he is and wants to see Riho on their television. Nobody wants to see her wrestle, and nobody wants to, as Dusty Rhodes might say, make sweet love to her. Either one. So what the fuck? See her wrestle, and nobody wants to, as Dusty Rhodes might say, make sweet love to her. Either one. So what the fuck? That's the kind of professionalism you get from these guys. If you're a friend, you're fine. If you're a talent, you're fucked. So, now everything, as I said, has worked out so well for everybody except Tony Khan, whose business continues to suffer. The EVPs got rid of the threat that they had that exposed them already, but Tony ain't realized it. Jericho's cleared the way for the canned ham to be the most prized product in the whole store.
Yeah, and the other thing is Mega has Tony's ear on a lot of the non-wrestling issues, and Jericho has Tony's ear on way too many of the wrestling issues, but Jericho also has Mega's ear. So Tony's kind of getting tag team.
And what does Mega have of Jericho's?
I don't know about that, but basically Tony's not necessarily, I would think, being advised from a good impartial party.
Well, when you're grabbing people by the ear or the nose or throat or any other appendage and getting in there with your thoughts, sometimes they register on weak-minded people.
If we have 10 conversations in one day,
and we agree on 7.
but Tim